We had a great week trading as a team. Here's a few trades that we caught this past week. Now let's get into this Forex forecast. All right, starting this forecast off with the weekly chart of the DXY. So if you guys remember, a few weeks ago, we called out this weekly supply. We pretty much called the top here on the DXY. You can actually go back and check that out. I'm not sure what forecast it was, but we did call out that move down. Now, I wasn't saying I don't think we could push all the way down to here, but to me, it looks like we could, in fact, push down to there, and something significant has actually taken place. If you look at a daily chart here of the DXY, I mean, based on my chain analysis, we had supply, demand, and now we have supply at 103.60. So, I mean, I didn't actually expect us to break this easily. If you look, it was pretty much 2 solid red candles that just pushed down and pretty much acted as if this supply was not there. But obviously we did get that initial reaction off of that demand zone there. Sorry, I think I said supply earlier. I meant to say demand. That's my bad. When you say supply and demand so many times throughout the day, sometimes you get them confused. But anyways, on to the daily chart here to continue on. We are now left with supply on the daily chart at 103.60. Now, I think we could, so if we do push up a little bit here in the dollar, I think we could maybe get, I don't know, a positive week in the DXY. I think we will start to hesitate around 103.20, right where I kind of have my line here. I think we'll at least hesitate. It's definitely possible we do push all the way up to that supply and then react off of it, and I am actually expecting this move. Now, whether or not we hesitate through the middle here or not, this is the real supply in my opinion. So I am bearish the dollar. However, I think we could see some positive price action to the upside as we pull back up to supply and then potentially react off of it. And how you will be able to kind of predict that will be on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. I'm only going to go to the 4 hour chart here. We have a pretty consistent and clean downward trend here. We have supply above at 103.15. And clearly we are reacting off of some sort of demand at 102.43. I don't even know when I drew the zone. It's just been on my chart. Sometimes the lines react. Sometimes price reacts off of the zones. So, two pretty green candles here on the 4 hour chart. We still have 3 hours left at the time of this recording, but to me it looks like we are seeing some bullish price action. So at that point, we could, if we start to break this, we could start to see some more pressure to the upside, like I said, where we could be pulling back up to that daily supply to then get that move down. So overall, I am definitely bearish the dollar, but whether or not we pull back to that daily supply or not before we pull all the way back down to this weekly demand at 101.11, that'll be for a different discussion. But remember, keep your eye out on that daily supply at 103.60. All right, on to the Euro US dollar forecast. Starting with a daily chart here, we are into some daily supply now. Kind of the opposite, not the opposite, but I don't have a demand on the DXY, which would be supply for the euro. Obviously, we are seeing some moves off of this supply right now with a 50% red candle here. Do I think this supply is going to hold? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, we could see some downward pressure here. Obviously, if the dollar goes up, like I said, we will probably see the euro drop a little bit. But I'm not ignoring this supply, but I'm not really taking it too seriously. And with that being said, we did get a beautiful trade off of this 4 hour demand zone here at 1.08. This was a trade I called out in the daily market breakdown video for the Diamond members. And those daily market breakdown videos is basically what I do here with these forecasts, but every single night. I record a 10 to 12 minute video, sometimes less, depending on how many setups I see, pointing out setups like this. So check it out. Links are in the description down below. I just lowered the lifetime membership option as well. So we'd be happy to see all serious traders join the team, get my daily analysis, video lessons, and much more. So beautiful trade off that demand zone. It pretty much worked. So in the meantime, we have nice trends on the 4 hour chart. We could be day trading long. I think it's possible we do pull maybe back to this area right here at, let me get the price, 1.09. I think it's possible we do pull back down to there and continue to go up, but any pullback could be used as a potential dip buying opportunity, especially on day trading timeframes, because we have a beautiful 4 hour trend right now. We also have a very nice 1 hour trend as well. Not a lot of zones here, guys, for me to point out to you guys, but at the end of the day, when we have a beautiful 4 hour plus a 1 hour uptrend, actually it should be vice versa, that's my bad. then what that means is day trading longs is going to be good because we're trading with that trend. Now, with that being said, do we want to be swing trading long as well? Yes, I mean, we definitely could based off of weekly demand and control. The daily supply is kind of in control right now in the euro, but honestly, clearly we have seen trades working out to the long side very, very well over to 5-1 on that move. So I am bullish the euro. What I'm personally going to be looking for here, what I hope is this is the start of basing on the daily chart, where maybe we get another basing candle here, something like this, and then we get maybe hopefully an explosive move. And then I'll draw my demands on the daily chart. Hopefully it's demand, and we pull back to that, where then we can get a beautiful swing trading long setup, something like this. That is what I am really hoping for in the euro. I think we could see this, and with the dollar weakness that I'm seeing, I think we will kind of break this supply here on the euro. So definitely bullish. Day trading longs are definitely looking good, but as far as 1 hour, 4 hour zones, nothing for me to point out. I already pointed out that trade in the daily market breakdown video. That's why you guys got to get my analysis throughout the week. All right, on to gold, XAUUSD forecast. So obviously with a beautiful push up here on gold on the weekly chart, I'm drawing this demand a little bit early at 2041 on the weekly chart. I just want to say, if we get another candle close here next week like this, I think it's possible we do see a lot of weakness in gold. And I think it could trap a lot of retail traders like, oh, gold's so bad. You all know the narrative on gold. Everyone's all into Bitcoin now and everything. And I get that. It's the new thing, right? But honestly, I think we could see a lot of weakness here in gold coming up. Pull back to this weekly demand where a lot of people probably will be shorting, and we can be looking for long. So it'll be interesting to see what takes place for gold the next couple weeks. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can keep an eye on what's happening with gold with me. So in the meantime, if we get a temporary pullback, and by temporary I mean it's not really that temporary, but at 21.31 we have daily demand. We could see longs off of that zone. I'll have my eye on that zone at 21.31, especially as a swing trader. I've been pretty busy lately, so I'm trying to stick to daily zones. So I'll definitely have my eye out on that zone on gold. I know a lot of you guys don't really want to wait for daily zones, and I get that, but guys, what I'm seeing here on the 1 hour chart, yes, gold has been great. I have been long gold. I'll go back to the daily chart here. I've been long gold since down here at this daily demand zone. I did take 75% of my position off now. It's been a hell of a trade. So I've been long since down here. And my point is that was the place to pretty much get in long. I don't see anything here on the 1 hour chart. I mean, yes, gold has been very, very strong, but not really creating any zones. I absolutely hate this price action. It's been great for being in the trade from down here, but for trading, it's just kind of junky if I'm being honest. So what I would do if I was you, you could be day trading long this trend. I think that's fine, especially with the 4 hour trend. But remember, guys, it's definitely possible we start to pull back. Even on the 4 hour chart, we have a couple 4 hour zones here. It's definitely possible we start to pull back. I mean, this is a pretty steep trend to the upside, so it's 100% possible we pull back. Obviously, everyone knows it's possible anyways, but I'm just saying, just wanted to point out some areas where we could, look for longs, and just point out the situation that I said where, yeah, we could see a lot of weakness in gold for like months to come, right? Just to get that pullback down to weekly demand, because in reality, guys, look, let's say the big banks, they want to push gold to 3,000 an ounce or something, right? Well, maybe they need to push price back down to weekly demand first to buy more down here to then fuel for that bigger move to the upside, right? That is just my thinking. I'm just trying to think out loud here. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. It'll be very, 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 very interesting to see what happens here on gold, but overall I am bullish. I mean, it's longs all the way. Any pullback should be treated as a long opportunity in my opinion. On to the USDJPY, and real quick, if you are enjoying this video, would appreciate a like. Every like helps, as all of the ad revenue generated from these weekly Forex forecasts is donated to my local hospice charity. So every like matters, guys. Would appreciate it, and always I thank you guys for your support. So anyways, looking at the weekly chart here of the USDJPY, we failed to push up and break the high. Obviously a very, very red week here in the USDJPY. Not too surprised. I think all signs are really pointing to the downside here. On to the daily chart here, I think we will potentially get some hiccups around this area. I mean, we are seeing a kind of a wick back in right now, but we do have the real demand down below at 145. 145.77. So I think, in my opinion, supply and demand acts as a magnet for price. So I do think we will push back down to 145.77, and I don't think we'll just blast through this area. I think we will definitely, at minimum, hesitate to get through it, which means we could see some bullish price action as we come out of this demand zone. But ultimately, I think we will break it. That is just my opinion. Do I think we will get the move from demand up to supply? Probably not. I think, at most, I think we could see maybe halfway through and then that drop. We're gonna have to monitor it, so make sure to come back and check what takes place. But in the meantime, if you want to look for shorts, I've eyed this supply zone on the 1 hour chart. Not loving how far, I like the move away as far as how prices moved away, but I would like to see a pullback sooner than later up to 148.40. I think it's a decent little supply zone there. We could look for shorts. It's a decent little pullback, right? We could kind of, it's kind of like a liquidity area, whatever you guys like to call it. I don't know what all the terminology is here, guys. I just call it the markets, but we definitely could see a move off of that supply, 148.40. So if we do see dollar strength, I think we could pull back up to that supply zone. And look, there's tons of profit margin if we take that supply zone all the way down to 145.77 on the daily chart, like I said. So I'm viewing profit margin as to that daily demand zone. So whatever trade you are looking to take, make sure we have profit margin down to that daily demand. All right, on to the GBPUSD forecast. So looking at a weekly chart here, just wanted to point this out. We had the weekly supply from all the way back here. If you guys really want to go back, I called this one out too. I mean, I hate, I don't want to be tooting my own horn, but I just, supply and demand zones are extremely important, guys. They, obviously they don't work all the time, but they are key areas of interest. So we already had that reaction off that supply, but look how deep we pushed into it. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. I know that you guys could probably see it, but just want to zoom in. I mean, we went well over 75% of the way in, so I think it will break, in my opinion. I think we could still hesitate around here, but I think it is going to break ultimately. And on the daily chart, something significant has taken place. And what I mean by that, well, you can just see here, we were just going so sideways for so long here on the daily chart. The pound, every day I'd wake up, there was not one thought in my head this entire time where I'm like, I got to look for an entry on the pound today. Not one time. But now we broke the high and we actually kind of wicked through supply here. So in my opinion, this is looking very, very strong. And the significant thing that has happened is we have a trend now on the pound, which is phenomenal. I've been waiting for this because I personally like trading the pound. I've made definitely very good trading decisions on the pound. It seems to be a good pair to trade, at least for myself. So that's why I'm excited to finally see a trend, and I can finally start to look for longs again and just trades in general on the GBPUSD. So if we do pull back, I know this is like maybe a deeper pullback than most people would expect, but down to 1.27 to this daily demand, I think that's a decent area to look for longs on the pound. But it's really longs all the way. The nearest zone that I'm seeing is this 4 hour zone. I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit at 1.282. Now the move away isn't fantastic, but if you go back and look at that euro trade in the 4 hour chart, the move away was very, very similar. So we could pull back down to 1.2827 and get that move to the upside as we have the trends to the upside on the daily chart. So good little 4 hour zone there. Might want to have kind of a wider stop here because this is almost a basing candle as well. So a little bit tricky, but we could definitely see a move off of that demand. And if we break that demand zone, I think that's okay, because if we look here on the 1 hour chart, we actually have a couple, well, I would probably ignore this one and wait for that daily demand I was just pointing out. But if we do pull back, we have a little zone here at 1.279. We definitely could see a move off of that zone for sure. Day trading confirmation longs in there could also be good. So these are entries, guys, but also areas to look for lower time frame entries to kind of get those sniper entries with this trend. So overall, the pound definitely looking good. What are your thoughts on the pound? Let me know in the comments down below. I personally love this daily trend that we are seeing, and I'm excited to be looking for trades in the pound again. Alrighty, on to the USDCAD. Fun fact, I am Canadian. But anyways, we will look at the daily chart here first. Nice reaction off of supply to the downside. We had 2 pretty red candles, daily candles here. So 2 very, very red days, in my opinion. We are seeing some sort of a pullback now on the next candle here today, or the day of recording this video. And what I think we're doing is we are pulling back to this supply level at 1.35. I think we could see a move off this supply zone. It's a significant supply in my opinion. I think there's a lot of selling in that area at 1.35. I would be honestly very shocked if we did not at least see some sort of move off this supply. Now there is supply above at 1.358. I think maybe we at worst we could see a small move and then that push up off the supply like that. But at the end of the day, this is our nearest supply zone on the 4-hour chart. This would be also a great area to look for a 15-minute day trading confirmation entry to the short side as well. So that pretty much would be our setup. And I mean, there's tons of profit margin to the downside. If you just go back to the daily chart here, the nearest demand is down here at 1.324. So that's really the profit margin there. I mean, it's a ton of profit margin. If we just look, if we just take out the tool here, the risk reward tool. I don't like to do this a lot on the forecast videos, but we will just for this one sake. So the profit margin would be basically 8-to-1 all the way down to this demand zone. Now, feel safe, maybe 5-to-1, right? Which is what I love to look for. So tons of profit margin. That's what I have my eyes out here on the USDCAD, and I'm really not going to confuse you guys. That's pretty much all I would be doing. And like I said, if we pull back, let's say we break the supply, if we pull back to 1.358, we have supply above. So definitely an area of interest for me. That's what I'd be doing here on the USDCAD. All right, now we're going to look at the Aussie US dollar forecast. So right now we are wicking right into supply. If you guys have been following my forecast, we said price could definitely come and contact this supply zone, and I mean clearly there is supply here as we've wicked out of it pretty much immediately at 0.665. So with that being said, we could see some weakness here. Overall, I am bearish the dollar, so obviously I am expecting this to continue to push up. However, I don't think it's not plausible to see more weakness. And why do I say that? Well, there's a demand zone down here at 0.657 on the 4-hour chart. This is a decent area. I'm actually pretty interested in this area myself. On the 4-hour chart has been responsible for removing supply, so it is a decent little rally base rally demand zone. As you can see, rally base rally. So a nice little demand zone there, and with the daily supply coming into contact, I think it's plausible that we do see a pullback all the way down to there. So that's what I think we could see take place. If not, and we continue to push up going back to the daily chart here, if not, and we continue just to push up from here and break the supply, that's fine. Then we could look for longs like that off of a daily demand zone. If that takes place, obviously that'll probably be for next week's forecast or even after that. But at the end of the day, we have 4-hour trends to the upside, 1-hour trends to the upside. Looking for longs on day trading timeframes at any point could be fine. But me personally, especially since we've seen the daily supply come into contact, I think it's safer to just wait for the 4-hour demand zone and look for longs in there on day trading timeframes rather than just looking at any point. But it is valid, is the point I'm trying to get across here. It is valid to be looking for longs on day trading timeframes based on the trends that I am seeing. So that is the Aussie. Remember, guys, any questions about any of my analysis, do not hesitate to leave a comment. I will respond to every single comment, and if I don't respond, it's because I didn't see it. On to the forecast for the USD Swiss. Now we are getting that nice reaction off of the trend line, and honestly I'm a little surprised. I thought we would spike a little bit higher, maybe into supply on the weekly chart, but at the end of the day we are getting that downward pressure here off of that trend line, and I'm not too surprised as we have seen dollar weakness. Now a few options here. Well, first I just want to point out the profit margin to the downside, and that would be this daily demand zone at 0.86. And why this demand zone? Why is that the profit margin? Well, because this was a significant demand zone that removed a trend line. So I think we could see a move off the zone. That's why it's our profit target, in my opinion. So just wanted to point out the profit margin. We have tons to the downside. And not only that, we have a nice 1-hour downtrend. Now, it was looking better here. We are a little bit overextended here. So yeah, we could see some upward pressure to kind of just fill in some of this gap. But overall, we have a 1-hour downtrend. I think looking for day trading shorts in this pair on the USD Swiss is definitely going to be fine. And if we, let's say, you get stopped out of some day trading shorts and we just see a lot of strength, Well, monitor the DXY first of all to see what's taking place. But on the 4-hour chart at 0.88, we have a nice 4-hour supply zone. We could definitely see a move off that zone as it removed not only demand but a trend line as well. So significant supply above. If we do get some strength, that is where we are most likely headed to, and then we could definitely look to potentially get in short at that supply. So overall, USD Swiss, to kind of summarize here, profit margins at the downside, weekly downtrend. We definitely want to be favoring shorts, whether that's on day trading timeframes or not, or you want to wait for the 4-hour supply above to kind of be a little bit more patient. All right, on to crude oil, last but not least. So you guys, the last forecast, I believe I was talking about how we could see, price just spike above here to kind of trap everyone that's been short. I mean, we have definitely seen that here. It's pretty evident. And we do have the demand down below at 74.04. I love this demand zone down here. I'm definitely interested in looking for a long trade down there. And like I said earlier in the forecast, supply and demand zones act as a magnet, in my opinion. So I think we could be pulling back down to there. And why do I say that? Well, we have definitely seen evidence of that taking place. If you look at a 1-hour chart, I mean, we lost momentum back here by removing the trend line, and supply zones are being respected. This is a beautiful, picture-perfect 1-hour supply zone trade that we caught in the daily market breakdown video that I actually talked about on Thursday. So beautiful supply zone trade, over 5-to-1 nailed. So just absolutely perfect trade there on crude oil. And with that being said, we have trends now to the downside on the 1-hour chart as well. So things are definitely looking weak, but just because we have a 1-hour downtrend does not mean that we're going to pull all the way down to daily demand, right? But however, we did get a 4-hour break of trend as well, where we had this beautiful 4-hour uptrend and we broke it with this supply at 79.37. So we could see some strength to pull up to supply and then that move down. Overall, I mean, I don't want to say I'm extremely bullish on oil, but at that daily demand I am. So I think, like I said, we could get a reaction off this supply like that, something like this on crude oil to pull back down to that daily demand zone. And that's definitely where I would look to take profit if I were you, if you are in short. Going to be monitoring the 1-hour downward trend line. As long as that's holding, we could be day trading short for sure. And the profit margin, like I said, is down to 74.04 here on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.